about that. This committee will come to order. Pursuant to notice, we meet today to mark up 9 bipartisan measures. Without objection, all members may have 5 calendar days to submit statements or extraneous materials on today's business. I am actually going to place my own prepared statement into the record to save time, as we have been notified that final floor votes for the week will start at 10:15. As members were notified yesterday, we intend to consider today's measures en bloc, and so without objection, the following items previously provided to members and also in your packets will be considered en bloc and are considered as read. House Resolution 422, urging the adherence to the one country, two systems policy for Hong Kong. It should not be one country, 1.5 systems. It should be one country, two systems. Angle Amendment 58 in the nature of a substitute. H.R. 425, the Foreign Terrorist Organization Passport Revocation Act of 2017, Castro Amendment 54 to H.R. 425. H.R. 1196, the Counterterrorism Screening and Assistance Act of 2017, Zeldin Amendment 25 in the nature of a substitute. H.R. 1660, the Global Health Innovation Act of 2017. H.R. 2658, the Venezuela Humanitarian Assistance and Defense of Democratic Governance Act, Angle Amendment 57, in the nature of a substitute. H.R. 3320, to develop a strategy to regain observer status for Taiwan in the World Health Organization. H.R. 3329, the Hezbollah International Financing Prevention Amendments Act. Royce Amendment 56 in the nature of a substitute, Boyle Amendment 9, Cicilline Amendment 8, Duncan Amendment 33, Ross-Leitonen Amendment 36, Schneider Amendment 47. H.R. 3342, sanctioning Hezbollah's illicit use of civilians as defenseless shields. And H.R. 3445, the AGOA and MCA Modernization Act. So before placing my prepared statement into the record, I want to briefly highlight one measure here, 3329, which amends and strengthens the Hezbollah International Financing Prevention Act, which was signed into law last Congress. In recent weeks, we have seen alarming reports that Hezbollah and Iran are building illicit missile factories on Israel's doorstep. This, combined with a reported 4-fold increase in Iranian support to Hezbollah, is pushing the region to the brink. We've got to further tighten the screws on these terrorists. In addition to the $800 million annual support funding that they receive from Tehran, also, Hezbollah continues to make millions from its trafficking in cocaine, in other narcotics, and in illicit cigarettes. This bill pushes back against Hezbollah's international financial network, against its Russian and Syrian enablers, and against its sponsor, Iran. And I want to thank Ranking Member Engel for working with me on this important measure. Without objection, my full statement on all 9 bills will be entered for the record, and I now recognize the Ranking Member, Mr. Engel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for calling this markup. I support all of the measures before us this morning, and I know we're on a tight schedule, so I'm going to ask that my statement in its entirety be entered in today's record.
Without objection.
Before I yield back, I want to recognize Francisco Marquez, who's with us today, a former political prisoner of the Maduro government in Venezuela. He's here to raise awareness about Congressman Wilmer Azuaje, another political prisoner. The congressman has been tortured, isolated, and denied medical attention, as well as access to his lawyer and family. Mr. Marquez, we have heard your story and so many stories like it. And with the bill I introduced with Representative Ileana Ros-Lehtinen of Florida, the Venezuela Humanitarian Assistance in Defense of Democratic Governance Act, we are providing humanitarian assistance to the Venezuelan people and raising the alarm about political prisoners and the assault on the rule of law. I also thank Senator Cardin for first offering this legislation in the other body. So I'll leave it there, but again, I'm glad to support all 9 measures today, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, as always, for your leadership, and I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Engel. Now, do any other members seek recognition? Judge Ted Poe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I support all the legislation. I also support Mr. Castro's amendment to my bill, the Foreign Terrorist Organization Passport Revocation Bill, and I especially appreciate Mr. Zeldin's legislation as well, and I ask that all my statements for all bills will be made part of the record.
Without objection.
I yield back.
Mr. Schneider.
Thank you, and likewise, I commend the committee for bringing this legislation to markup. I support this legislation. I have an amendment to the Hezbollah Amendments Act, and I appreciate the support for that, and I will submit my statement to the record. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. Mr. Wilson, you have a statement?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to thank you and also the ranking member, Elliot Engel, for the legislation that we have today, and I've prepared a statement in support, which I have offered for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Mr. Sears.
Well, I also like to say thank you to you and the ranking member for all the hard work. I certainly support all the bills that are here today, and thank you very much for the sake of time.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sears. Hearing no further requests for recognition, the question occurs on the items considered en bloc. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the measures considered en bloc are agreed to. And without objection, the measures considered en bloc are ordered favorably reported as amended. Staff is directed to make any technical and any conforming changes, and the chair is hereby authorized to seek House consideration under suspension of the rules. And that concludes our business for today. I want to thank Ranking Member Engel and all of our committee members for their contributions and their assistance with today's markup. The committee is adjourned.